Thank you everyone for tuning in today for this latest edition of our Musician Monday, one of our offerings through the Musician Treatment Foundation. Before I introduce our special guests for today, I would like to give a very thankful, warm shout out to Chris Kimura, the owner and operator of the Parker Jazz Club, an amazing venue in central downtown Austin, where so many great performers, including our guest today, have played and performed and entertained so many people with their great musical offerings. So today I'd like to introduce to you Luis Ibañez. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
He's a great friend of the Musician Treatment Foundation, and we will kind of talk about his life in music, and we'll hear some of his great musical offerings today. Let me just say that we are still in the midst of the pandemic. It is waning, hopefully. We're both vaccinated, but we're wearing our masks still, not so much to protect each other because we're vaccinated, but to emphasize that this is still an important way to keep those around us safe, even if we are vaccinated, and especially as the economy opens up. And now live music is going to be opening up some, and in a careful way, but we want to be part of that solution, not part of the problem.
Exactly.
So, you know, you have an amazing history that I know some of, and I'd love to hear more about how you got started in music, where you got started, and how you ended up here in Austin. You're a mainstay of the music scene here, and you've been here for many years. And I'll tell you how I first heard you and met you later, or remind you. But tell us a little bit about yourself and your start.
Well, my name is Luis. I come from Mexico City. And then basically I come from a family of musicians. I got immersed pretty much from early age. And while my grandfather was teaching guitar to my sister and brother, older both, I started picking up the guitar whenever they left it free.
Oh, nice.
And it was basically the beginning of my approach to music.
Yeah.
Later on in life, we wanted to do it more professionally, and we went to study music in Mexico City.
Nice.
While I was in high school.
Wow.
So I had the opportunity to even study formally violin. I choose, even though guitar was always there. So when I was to choose what to do in life for professional life, I wanted to study engineering, which I finally ended deciding what to do, what to study. And music, I tried to both at the same time, but it was very difficult. And so basically, music has been with me my whole entire life until I even appeared in a children's TV program.
Oh, wow.
Because I already had
talent and ability.
Show my ability to play and sing.
Nice.
So later in time, I ended going to Europe and stay for a whole year. And what I did was playing guitar. And many stages I went through, basically North Germany to Italy, Spain.
Wow.
Doing music.
Yeah.
It's been a key door for me to explore, get to know people, get to know places, get to know souls in general.
So, as I mentioned earlier, I had the good fortune during medical school to live in Cali, Colombia, in South America, and I was exposed on weekends. I bought a cheap guitar down there. I'm a terrible guitarist, but I love playing. I love music more. But what I was struck by, and you've alluded to it, and I'd like to hear a little more about it, it was the familial nature of it. It was such a wonderful thing that people would get together playing different instruments, often a couple of guitars, some drums, some cymbal, etc. And it was just such a good feeling, and everyone felt free, and everyone felt safe to be playing. And did you have growing up? Did you have family gatherings where you were playing multiple people were playing instruments and so forth?
Yeah, that was part of my family gatherings.
Yeah.
usually dance and music.
Nice, nice.
And my mom sings.
Oh, perfect.
Pretty much everyone at home plays or sings.
Yeah.
So that led to an easy approach, a natural approach for me per se. And then once you start doing it, it's like basically literally playing. It's like a joy to play, share what you can do with others, because music is something that you have to share. It's not something that you can keep for yourself.
Correct. And
you share it.
Yes, and it's so universal.
Exactly.
It is a universal way to communicate. Beauty. And
so that was, music gave me the opportunity to travel around. I've been in Japan playing, Cuba, playing music, And like I said, it changed basically my life. It made who I am as of now.
So you were studying petroleum engineering, and you came directly to Austin from Mexico City, or?
Well, I already had lived in Europe.
Oh, right, that's right. Yeah, so you came back.
In Germany. And then I came back to Mexico, finished school, and came here to study.
And so you were still playing music, but you were also gearing up to or studying engineering. When did it become clear to you that I have to make music full time?
I struggled a little bit to get into the master's program because the language is not English is not my first language.
No, it's perfect.
After a few years, I questioned, I started taking more and more classes from other areas rather than engineering. Either when I took classes in philosophy and arts. I went to take drawing classes and to raise my GPA, but I started realizing that in the process that arts is really what calls my attention more than anything else.
Well, I'm grateful for that because your soul speaks much louder than, I'm not saying that engineers don't have soul, but given that I'm an engineer, you have a much deeper emotional output, and I think you've been able to give much more to the world through your music than I think probably that you could have through engineering. So thank you for making that choice. And so, this might be a good time to just, could we hear you play something?
Almost definitely.
And then we'll have maybe another time or two, but I'd love to hear now to start exposing all of us to that.
Mujer, mujer divina, tienes el veneno que fascina en tu mirar, mujer. De sonatina pasional, tienes el perfume de un naranjo en flor, el altivo porte de una majestad. Que hay en el amor, tienes el hechizo de la liviandad, la divina magia de un atardecer. De la inspiración, tienes en el ritmo de tu ser todo el
palpitar de una canción, eres la razón de mi existir. Y la maravilla de la inspiración. Tienes en el ritmo de tu ser todo el palpitar de una canción. Eres la razón de mi existir, mujer.
Gracias.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful, wonderful. I can't wait to hear the next one. I would like to remind you and tell the viewers how I first heard your beautiful music. I was running in along Town Lake here, now called Lady Bird Lake, which is not a lake but a river, but that's what we call it. And I was running and I heard this amazing music wafting from somewhere. I couldn't figure out where because you know the trail is somewhat secluded, and I was running and I just couldn't figure out where it was, and I started feeling like I was getting closer to it, and then I looked through the trees and there you were floating on a platform in the middle of Town Lake with all of these kayaks and canoes and everybody all centered or clustered around a huge number of people, and you were there with I think two other people, your bandmates, and I'd like to hear more about all the spectrum of things you do, but it was just an amazing experience and so unique to Austin. So tell us a little bit about how you became involved in that. I think you were one of the early ones, right?
Yes, exactly. I'm one of the ones who started it, along with Professor Federico from UT, a professor that I met over there. He somehow organizing the event. He's basically renting the canoes or the boats from this special place in Town Lake. And the idea is wonderful. It's called Serenata a la Luz de la Luna.
Oh, nice.
Moonlight Serenade.
Yeah.
And it's during the summertime. And, you know, I did it for quite a bit, a few years, and every so often we change activities, and I do it once in a while. I just got the calendar, the schedule of this year. I may do one or two. I'll announce it. But it's a wonderful idea. The acoustic is perfect.
Right.
Who wouldn't know that playing on a platform, basically moved by electric motor, so that doesn't interfere with the music. And the kayakers and the canoers follow us through wherever we go.
It's amazing. Love that.
It's a beautiful experience. It's a simple idea. Attracts a lot of people. I think it's definitely something to experience.
Right. So obviously none of that has gone on for the past year of this pandemic. And tell us, I know you, like all other professional musicians and local Austin musicians, that your touring schedule and your playing schedule was completely destroyed and eliminated, essentially. So tell us a little more about what your experience has been during COVID, both the trials and tribulations, but also anything positive that may have come from it.
Well, I was playing I would say March, I don't know exactly, it's 13 or 18 of last year. And I was playing and remember announcing on TV that the NBA was going to be closed because of COVID.
Yes.
And I thought, wow, if this is a national sport and everyone is expecting, to watch, enjoy this, and they're closed, what is going to happen to all of us? And yeah, certainly that was the last Thursday I played. And from there, it was, I would say, even scary times. Because my experience was that I had to be by myself for quite a bit.
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared. I mean, I had a little bit of savings, but I was totally shocked to do it. Seems like during those times, they said, do not talk to anyone, do not speak to anyone, just be on alert.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I'm able to be by myself for periods of time because I practice. I spend good amount of time. I've been spending good amount of time doing what I do, music, in everything involved. So I'm busy at home doing that. But because I had a lot more time on my hands, I started practicing guitar, trying to just maybe after months or this time I would come with something more positive. I started exercising with something that is called arsapua, which is basically put your finger tense and just plug it back and forth.
I see.
And I think because I did it in the past, it's something for flamenco, and it's a technique. But probably because of during this time I overdo it, my thumb started popping. Every time I bend it, it would be like this, and it was and it's pop every time. Anyway,
and that hurt as well. It was painful.
The first 2 days it was just popping, and after 2 days, I remember waking up with my hand by my side, like something, and then it started swelling. So it was. I didn't know what to do, so I called family, and they told me a doctor friend of mine, you just put the hand on the water and salt water and move it and see. We didn't know what to do. I didn't want to go to the hospital because it was COVID. It was COVID, and it was anyway. Just waited until I called HAM, Health Alliance for Austin Musicians, and. I would have to go through the general doctor and send me to get an MRI and get X-rays. But they couldn't find really much what was the reason. Anyway, until I got referred to you, which I really thank you for your help. You even remembered you did a diagram, very detailed of what was happening, which it was a great help. And so I'm grateful for your help and for life, for giving us what we have. It has been intense, but learning a lot of lessons here in this time.
Yeah, and we're coming out. We have a lot to be grateful for despite the hardships.
Exactly. Exactly.
Your problem, the official term for it is trigger thumb, as you recall, and it is an overuse type problem. So you're is a classic story for someone who is doing some type of either more playing or maybe a little different style of playing that is a mild stressor on the hand, and it leads to inflammation, swelling, and then that nodular clicking that's trying to pass through this tight space. It's not a terrible problem, but for a guitarist like you, or any string player especially, it can be completely disruptive to your ability to make music.
I didn't want to accept it, to tell you the truth, but I thought, oh my God, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
If I play guitar, fortunately, it was during this period of time, and not when I had to work, because I would be struggling because
Right.
my thumb would be locked. It made me question, am I going to have to start thinking to do another trade or something else?
You know, I think that brings up this idea that musicians, if they start to have a problem that is impairing their ability to play, but they are pushing through, they are petrified of the idea of not being able to play, both because it's so important to you emotionally, psychologically, but also as your means of existence and financial, you know, the way you make a living. And so they often avoid care because they think, what am I going to do if I stop playing? If I'm not able to play for a period of time, I can't pay my bills, I can't pay my rent, or I can't even afford the care itself. So it's a very, very disruptive and upsetting thing, just the concept, and then knowing that potentially, and fearing, not knowing exactly what it is. You had an MRI that did, and it doesn't really show anything, the MRI. You had x-rays, that doesn't show anything, and you're thinking, what's going on? Am I going to, it's just as you said, which very poignantly, am I going to have to think about doing something else to make a living? And that's a devastating idea. So I'm glad yours was minor. You got well very quickly and have continued to make music. Now we're opening back up, and we can hopefully really get back to the full breadth of your repertoire. Tell us about all your different ways that you present music to the world.
Well, playing around town, you start getting to meet all types of musicians, and it's an activity that I really enjoy, meeting my pals. So somehow I've been meeting with all types of instruments, and I play with. Right now I'm putting a duo with me on voice and piano, and I play guitar and sing by myself. But I have a couple trios that I like to partner with, and we become family. Spend so much time. They are actually my adopted families, how we call. Yes. And we try to enjoy as much as we can what we do. One of the main reasons to do music for me is to share what we have, and maybe distract people a little bit from their daily.
Yes, indeed. So, what types of music do you play?
Basically, it's Latin music.
Okay.
All types. Unfortunately, the wide variety is a wide variety of rhythms, and so I like salsa. I like tango. Tango is very, very theatrical. So you have to interpret it and feel it and understand the lyrics so that you just interpret what is being said there. And but I like romantic music, folk music. So fortunately, I haven't personally just say or enclose myself into the one genre. Music, some musicians say there is only two types of music, good and bad, which I don't know.
That's a good point. From my time in Cali, Colombia, me gusta mucho la salsa.
Claro. I have a salsa band.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear.
And a tango orchestra.
Wow.
With violins and accordion and bandoneons and music is.
Well, let's hear some more. Let's hear some more.
Thank you. Yes,
we need more of that.
Gracias.
Please.
Marcané, llego a Cueto, voy para Mayarí. El cariño que te tengo no te lo puedo negar. Se me sale la babita, yo no lo puedo evitar. Limpia el camino de pajas que yo me quiero sentar en aquel tronco que veo y así no puedo llegar. En el mar cernían arena, como sacudí el jibe, a Chanchan le daba pena. De Alton Cedro voy para Marcané, llego a Cueto, voy para Mayarí. Para Marcané, llego a Cueto, voy para Mayarí. La 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 cuando la forjó una mano que solo gustaba airosa, un poco de voz quedaron en la llana hacia amistosa cuando la forjó una mano que solo gustaba airosa, un poco de voz quedaron. De Alton Cedro voy para Marcané, llego a Cueto, voy para Mayarí. De Alton Cedro voy para Marcané, llego a Cueto, voy para Mayarí. De Alton Cedro voy para Marcané, llego a Cueto, voy para Mayarí.
Thank you so much. That was fantastic.
Gracias.
That's a great way to end. I would like to say that we are the Musician Treatment Foundation. We are a nonprofit based in Austin and New York, and we provide free shoulder, elbow, and hand care for under and uninsured musicians. They need us now more than ever, so if you can help us just by supporting us, spreading the word. Obviously, we welcome donations, but it's not mandatory. And we will continue these offerings as expressions of our gratitude to our musicians, as well as to our fans, and to keep the music playing. I'm Dr. Alton Barron. I'm the founder of the Musician Treatment Foundation, and thank you, and please tune in next time.